Welcome, Leo and Leo Crosswatchers, to your singles and new love reading for March 2023. So I do apologize, excuse me, that these are a little bit late. I'm sure you can tell that I am still sick, but I don't want you guys to be waiting for them any longer. So we're going to get where you are, where you're headed, what you need to know, and then we're going to go into this deck for the next love interest for Leo Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus signs, and that will be time-stamped in the description box below. Well, apparently I don't know how to shuffle anymore. Sorry, guys. So I hope you guys have all had a wonderful weekend, and that if you're in the northern hemisphere, that spring is finally coming. I don't know about you guys, but my tulips are finally sprouting, which is always really nice. So we have the Five of Wands is where you are right now. Leo, usually this talks about like kind of having a lot of arguments, people not working together, but I actually feel like you're one step beyond that. It kind of feels like you see something as like for what it is. You know what I mean? I don't really see you trying to put a square peg into a round hole, if you will, really. I kind of see you as this one over here. You're looking at everyone arguing, no one's working together, and it's kind of like, you know what? I'm going to get out of Dodge is kind of the vibe that I'm getting from you. And I mean, sometimes there can be a bit of a forlorn. It's always a loss. Sometimes it can seem a little bit difficult, but I don't see that for you today. It actually feels like a fed up kind of energy. I also feel, and now this may not be for everybody, I feel like there's somebody in whatever it is that you're kind of like getting away from here. I feel like there's somebody there that you see them wasting their time. And it's almost like watching them either constantly waste their time or just consistently kind of be stuck in this same cycle over and over and over again. And it's almost like you can see that they don't see that. And because you can see it in them, you're going to get out of there before that same thing, before you kind of get sucked into it, you know? So where is Leo headed? The moon. Okay. Leo, what's interesting is I feel like you're going to be in almost like a bit of an introspective energy. Sometimes for me as a reader, if you've been on my channel for a bit, you might know this already. It always kind of feels like this card is the tarot laughing at me a little bit. Like, oh, you think you're going to get an answer to your question? And no. Today it actually feels like, it's almost like there's this hustle and bustle and it's like the whole world could be having a completely chaotic experience, and I feel like internally you're not. You know what I mean? It's like it might feel like a barren wasteland to some people, but to you it feels really peaceful. To you it feels like it's time to rest. It's time to sleep, I'm hearing. It's almost like and this might be a specific read. I'm going to be honest with you. It almost feels like you're allowing yourself to kind of evolve into the next stage of your life, if that makes sense, right? It's like more mature. You're a little more mature, a little wiser, a little less, not that you were impulsive, okay? But it just feels like you seem to have grown up in a way, and I feel like you're really at peace with it. And I want to be really clear. It's not because like, oh, Leo is peaceful and thinks their life is going to always be that way. It's almost like, oh, it's going to make me cry. You seem to have somehow adjusted to the flow of the universe, if that makes sense, right? It's like you're resting now and you're enjoying this rest, but you're also at peace with the fact that this rest, you know that it probably won't last forever, right? Because there's always that ebb and flow. And it just feels like you seem to be really at peace with yourself. So, what does Leo need to know? What? 2 Sagittarius cards. Now, that doesn't mean anybody's dealing with a Sagittarius, okay? It was just the first thing that I thought because we have Temperance and the Knight of Wands here. So, okay. I know not everybody wants to hear this, but I'm gonna just have to say it because this is what I'm seeing. There may be somebody returning. I'm not feeling that super strongly. I feel for some of you, it could be someone from the past, but either way, it feels like somebody is entering your life. I feel like they are not explosive, but it feels like it's someone that's very impulsive, very passionate. It feels like the kind of person that would like come clamoring into your life and want to dominate all your time or energy, or it's like they want to be consumed by the love that they're in, right? So like if they're in love with somebody or they're with someone, they want to feel consumed by it. It needs to be this intense experience at all times. And it's almost like, when things get really, when it moves into like real deep, long-standing intimacy, or when it's almost like things seem to kind of settle into a peaceful energy, they run, they bolt. You know what I mean? It's like it loses its luster and they're out the door just as fast. And whether this is someone from the past or it's someone new that has that energy, it's irrelevant, it seems, to the energy that you're in, because I feel like you're totally unbothered by it. And it actually, I feel like I'm gonna cry from relief. It feels like it's this energy of like, oh, fight, like, because you've evolved into this energy and you grew up in whatever way that you did, it's such a peaceful energy, because I feel like in the past, this type of energy may have been very enticing. And not even, that you wanted this past person back, or you've even have actually gotten involved with these people or with this type of person before. It just feels like it may have put you in an energy almost like, this might be a strange way to describe it, but this is kind of, I don't know how else to say it. It's almost that energy of when you see a young couple in love and you have that kind of like forlorn energy of like your younger days when, you were maybe a bit more innocent about the ways of the world and stuff like that, right? But that doesn't happen here. Excuse me. Excuse me. I feel like instead of having that kind of forlorn energy, you're so friggin' grateful that you are who you are now, because you can see how destructive that energy is and you can see it coming a mile away. And it's like you're not even, it's like this kind of chaotic energy could just come, could pass by, as many times as they like, and you're not going to be looking up from what you're doing, because you know where that, what's that line? You know where that road leads. And it's almost like, and you love yourself like way too much. You're it's almost like that you owe it to yourself. It's not even that. Maybe it would have been that before. Maybe you would have had to make a conscious decision and maybe fight an impulse. Maybe not, right? But it's like you don't even want it. You don't even have to kind of have a discussion with yourself like, oh, wait, I remember how that felt last time. I'm not doing that again. It isn't even like that. It's like the second you hear, that clip clop of the horse coming down the path, it's almost like, oh, okay, that's coming. Well, let me just make myself busy over here. And I'm just going to let that pass right by my window. You know what I mean? And it's like, and it passes by the window and you turn back here and you don't even look up and out, right? It's like there's no desire to explore it at all. And it feels like it feels like it gives you this really good confidence, like this self-confidence, right? And it's not a like, oh, you think you're the hottest thing since baked bread. It's more that in your, like, in your soul and in your heart that you have truly let something go and it doesn't hurt anymore. It's like that essence of moving it, like you haven't just said you've moved on, you haven't been working on moving on, you've truly let go and moved on. So for those of you with your, almost said moon in Leo, sorry. For those of you with your sun in Leo, which I'm sure you guys are probably starting to feel the shift with Aries season here and a fellow fire sign. Next love interest for, and I should say, this is the next love interest. It doesn't mean that that anything in particular is going to happen, or I almost want to say, it feels a little catty to say it this way, but it's like, I'm not even sure that you'll want the person, right? It's just the next person that's romantically interested in you. Leo sun. Next person for Leo sun. We have the Daughter of Cups, or Page of Cups, but it's reversed. Okay. So the Page of Cups usually talks about someone that is kind of like emotionally immature, but still in touch with their emotions, if that makes sense. What I'm actually feeling here is it feels more like this person is, it's almost like either the two of you haven't crossed paths yet. It almost feels like this person is very similar to you. You know what I mean? It's like they've been through the same, rocky path when it comes to love. It feels like the energy of somebody that is very much like you. You know what it feels like? It's almost the energy of two people that, you guys have both kind of, I don't know how to say this nicely, so we'll say it this way, like got the runaround when it comes to love, right? I feel like both of you are the kind of people that are, Leos have a notoriously really big heart, right? But sometimes that means that people take advantage of the fact that you do have that big heart. And I feel like they've had those same experiences. And it just kind of feels like the healing process that you're going through and they're going through, it's almost like the two of you are neck and neck, if that makes sense. Not that either of you is racing, but you just seem to be moving through it at the same pace. And it's almost like two people meeting each other because you're at this leisurely pace in your life, right? Doesn't mean that you're not working hard, of course. It just means that when it comes to, new people coming in your life or doing your healing work or whatever it is that you're doing for yourself, you're in no rush. And neither are they. I do want to say, I feel like this person may be a little less trusting, a little more suspicious. Not suspicious, that's probably the wrong word. It's almost like you may be more ready than they are when the two of you run into each other. And I don't actually feel like it's like someone who may not be as in tune with energy as you are or as healed as you are. You know, it's that energy of like, because you understand yourself so well and your shortcomings and your this and your that and your strengths and all that, it's like you understand other people really well. And I feel like with this person, they seem to have taken something in their life. It doesn't mean it's the exact same situation, right? It just feels like they took something harder than you did, right? The similar experiences. It just feels like to this person, it's like, okay, it doesn't mean, I just want to be really clear. This doesn't mean that your hurt was any worse, okay? It's just how the two of you have handled it. So I feel like to you, situations happened, and if you've ever heard that thing where like the straw that broke the camel's back, I feel like that last and final straw might never have made it to you. Or like even if it did, it didn't break you. At least not in the way it broke this person. It feels like the energy of somebody that is forever searching for their person, for that, you know, that love in someone's eyes that's only for them. But it's almost like even if they found it, they'd look at it and be like, wait a second. Like it just feels that they may be somebody, it's like maybe this, it might just be the energetics of it, right? But it feels like somebody that really doesn't talk to other people about stuff like that. Like almost kind of like that introverty energy. And now it's not to say that like introverts aren't outgoing and that they don't talk to people, but I feel like this person got into almost like a it's almost the energy of somebody that was hurt so deeply by so many people that they just stopped talking to other people about stuff like that. You know what I mean? It's like and it's not even like, oh, I'm gonna cry. It's not even that um, that they still roll around in it. It's not even that um, that they're even angry about it. It's almost like they seem to have accepted to a certain degree that um, that like that's just the way the world is. Do you know what I mean? And it kind of feels like with you, you seem to feel really different to this person. It's almost like you seem to have this real strength about you that they kind of admire and want to emulate almost. It's almost like this person may know that the two of you have been through some similar shiz, right? Um, but they see that it didn't break you. And it's almost like it helps them to kind of, it's almost like they're wearing this big, heavy, soaking wet coat, but it hasn't soaked right through yet. And it's like, and in seeing you live the way that you live, knowing that you've been through what you've been through, it seems to allow them to just kind of let that coat go. You know what I mean? It's almost like walking around with something feeling like it's keeping you safe and all of a sudden looking at it and being like, oh, yeah, I don't want this. And then just being able to kind of slough it off, right? It's like they already did all of the kind of like undercurrent, underpinning work. I'm not explaining this well, but it's like they've already done all the stuff underneath it. They just needed to peel back that last layer. And I feel like them meeting you or kind of coming into whatever kind of a connection happens between the two of you, you are such a blessing to this person. You know what I mean? It just feels like you kind of show them how to be alive again. So for those of you with your moon in Leo, okay, so we have the Six of Wands, the Two of Pentacles, and the Two of Swords. This might sound strange. I feel like this is someone that's a little bit chatty, and not in a bad, like, it doesn't feel like there's anything negative to it. It just feels like it's somebody that, it doesn't feel like they're talking just to fill the air. It feels like it's the first time they felt like they can actually talk to somebody, right? So it's like they've bottled up all of this stuff. And it doesn't feel like it's, that there's just verbal diarrhea coming out of them. It doesn't feel like there's anything negative there. It just feels like it's so refreshing for them to talk to somebody like you that seems to actually care about what they're saying. You know what I mean? It's like, I also feel like this is somebody that they don't seem to get a lot of attention. And it's not that they're unattractive or anything. I actually feel like that they have this almost like habit, or I feel like it's a developed personality traits, right? So it doesn't feel like it's, is how they were born, but I feel like maybe they were somebody that didn't have a lot of friends when they were younger. You know what I mean? It's like they didn't have a big social circle, if at all, like kind of in high school or something. And so I feel like they almost kind of developed this persona, this attitude of somebody that's very standoffish, someone that's very closed off, someone that just doesn't talk to people. And I feel like, I mean, obviously that's a defense mechanism, right? But I feel like when the two of you meet, it's like they've already kind of, whereas, I mean, you probably didn't listen to the, I keep wanting to say Aries. I'm not sure why, but anyway, I just thought I would say that. I'm not sure if you listened to the Leo Sun, but that was about somebody that is like they're just about all healed up, but they needed Leo Sun to how do I say this? They needed Leo Sun to kind of show them how by living it. Whereas with this person, it's like they've been healed and they've been waiting. You know what I mean? And it's like, and they've been waiting, and like, and they were doing the work, and they did the work, and then they started building, and it's like, and they just kept doing, knowing that their person was going to come along. And it does feel like this person may have a little bit of a clingy vibe, not in a like terrible way, okay, but just in a like, because they so thoroughly enjoy talking to you, they want to talk to you. And I feel like you actually are pretty patient because of this energy, where like, because you understand yourself, this person, whereas some people might think like they're just talking your ear off, they're just this, they're just that, I feel like you're actually able to see really clearly that they just need someone to listen. You know what I mean? It's like, that they're not doing it because they want attention or some sort of shallow reason, right? You see that it's bigger than what other people might think it is. I feel like there's something that this person, it's almost like they seem to have they have this idea or this kind of like spark, or there's some sort of fire in them that it seems to kind of ignite something in you. It's almost like maybe you have been thinking about like starting a channel or starting some sort of something, right? It's like, it feels like it was something that that you may have dreamed about when you were younger. And it's like you've kind of been getting a couple of little signs maybe here or there to look into it. And then here this person comes along and they start talking about it. And it's almost like the moment they talk about it, I can kind of see you like almost half laugh or smile and shake your head a little bit, right? Because of, and it's not at this person or at the idea, it's just at the strength of the synchronicity, right? It's just like, okay, it's almost like this person kind of will mention whatever this is, or it kind of they introduce you to something to do with it, and it's almost like you're looking at the universe like, oh, okay, I get it, I heard you loud and clear. Right? They it just seems to be, I feel like, I'm gonna be honest, I feel like this person is interested in you. I'm not so sure you're interested in them. And it feels like there seems to be something about them that it's almost like your energy towards them is like, obviously you're being really kind and listening and whatever, but it's almost like if this person was to come towards you, I feel like you would kind of be like, you know what, I see that there's something that's still in there. You know what I mean? It's like you can see that they haven't, that there's still something in them that is wanting. There's still something in them. It's like there's still a hole in there that they need to fill. And so it's almost kind of like, well, they're going to have to deal with that before. And I'm not telling you to do this, of course. Okay. It just feels like you almost see it as like doomed before it started, and not in a like, it's going to end really terribly way, but more in a, you see that they're actually not ready for what it is that, for like the kind of relationship that you can offer, if that makes sense. So for those of you with a Leo rising, okay, right on the floor. All right. So we have the sun reversed. I'm hearing some profanity, so I feel no. I feel like this person is, it's like they seem to be deeply insecure. It's like the all the shadow aspects of Leo is who they are. I feel like this is someone that is it's like they're so desperate to be original that they copy everybody else. You know what I mean? It's the kind of energy that it's like they'll make fun of other people for being unoriginal, but it's actually because that's how they feel about themselves. You know what I mean? And I feel like you see through it so easily. It's almost like this person has a lot of insecurity. It doesn't actually feel like it would take them an exceedingly long time to do the healing. It just feels like it's almost like they seem to use talking, not, hold on, seem to use talking over people, or it's like, it's almost like, whenever they feel like, oh, someone might actually be scratching the surface on something real, it's like they start talking over them, they get really loud, and not, they're not quite obnoxious, but they're just about there, you know what I mean? And I feel like, I mean, obviously there's some compassion there, but I feel more you actually might pity this person. Hold on. It's almost like you'd like to help them, but I feel like you know that if you were to reach out, that because it's like as soon as anything gets real, they get a little bit loud and obnoxious and like there's nothing wrong with me, there must be something wrong with you. Like it just feels like it's this um incredibly potent energy, but it's just someone that is so deeply afraid that everyone's gonna um find nothing interesting about them. I've heard this word several times, so I'm going to say it. It is a swear word, so I'll abbreviate it. It's a-hole. And I don't really know. I feel like at times this person may come across as an a-hole, but it feels like it's almost like they were maybe in their, family unit, they were never really accepted. It was never enough. You know what I mean? It's like this person could have won every gold medal at the Olympics and no one would have noticed. No one would have cared. It would have been uninteresting and unoriginal. And I feel like they seem to cover that with this energy of overcompensating. And I feel like if this person was to kind of reach out to you to like and needed like legit, support or guidance or whatever, I feel like you would help them. But they seem to have such a chaotic energy about them that I feel like that seems to be what kind of stops you from wanting to reach out yourself, if that makes sense. They do seem to kind of long for you here. It's almost like they long for you, but they also long for the peace that you have. It's like they're looking at it wondering like, how do they get that? That looks, it's almost like even just being around your energy seems to be a calming experience for them. So for those of you with your Venus in Leo, on the floor again. Okay. So we have the Four of Pentacles, but it is reversed. We have the Fool at the bottom of the deck. There's something really sneaky about this person. I feel like this is the kind of person that's like there's fighting their light and their dark, if that makes sense. It's almost this energy of like, what is that? Chaotic neutral. Not chaotic neutral. It just feels like there's someone that's like developing the good parts of their personality, but those good parts of their personality are actually being built upon some rather negative things, if that makes, I feel like this isn't making sense. I feel like this is the kind of person that it does feel, okay, I'm not saying this to be judgmental, they do feel a little bit hypocritical-ish. It's like they might stare at someone, but then turn around and give somebody else shiz for staring at that same person. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they seem to be somebody that understands certain social protocol or standards, but I feel like there are some parts of themselves that they've left unexplored. And I feel like those parts seem to get the better of them. It almost feels like more often than they'd like it to, I feel like this is someone that's exceedingly hard on themselves when they do that, right? Because it's like they're on the straight and narrow, straight and narrow, straight and narrow. And then that other part of themselves that sorry, there's something black on my finger. It's just the mascara because my eye's watering. I feel like it's somebody that, so the straight and narrow, then that other part of them comes out and it's like, and they say or do something that seems to be very out of character. But what's unfortunate about it is that it's not just like they say one thing. It's like they say the thing, and then because that part of themselves has been held back for so long, it's like it just keeps going. You know what I mean? It's like they don't stop. They double down on it. And I feel like in that they may cause themselves a lot more grief than I feel like their heart truly deserves. You know what I mean? Like they have a good heart. They are just seem to be. It's almost the energy of someone that actually has a really good heart, but went through years of conditioning to silence it. And now it's waking up because they're allowing it to wake up, and now they have to turn around and face their own demons. And it's almost like there are some parts of their own demons that they're seem to be a real source of strength for them, seem to be like pillars in their life. And I feel like those pillars seem to be it's almost like they're either limiting factors. Like these pillars seem to have two functions. It's like either these pillars stop this person from growing, or they are the catalyst to push them forward. And I feel like those pillars may function as either or in this person's life, like continuously. You know what I mean? If that makes sense. I feel like this is someone, it feels like the kind of person that the two of you can sit and have like a philosophical or really intellectual conversation. I feel like because this person has a very unique point of view about things, they seem to really open your eyes to certain things. And it I'm going to be honest, it doesn't feel like they make you change your mind about anything. They just seem to help you understand how the other side of something works. And it seems to make you grateful that you've never touched that other side. So I think I'll leave it there. Leo, if this reading resonated, I hope it was helpful and brought you some clarity. Again, I am sorry. I know these are so late, guys. I'm doing my best. Sometimes my best doesn't look very good. Anyways, I hope you guys have a wonderful week, and we'll see you on the next one. Much love. Bye.